Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in this episode of the Wrestling Revisit, I'm going to be doing my review of WWE Evolution 2018. So first up on the card, we had Trish Stratus and Lita defeat Mickie James and Alicia Fox. And firstly, ring rust was certainly a thing for Trish and Lita going into this one. Their movements just throughout were very stagnated and stuff. They weren't really that fluid in ring. It was like fine for the most part, and it like served a good purpose having them on the show. But yeah, just in-ring quality really wasn't there in this match. But then like 5 years-ish later, both Trish and Lita would have better and a lot better quality matches, with ironically both of them facing Becky Lynch. In obviously Trish having a very good steel cage match with Becky, and Lita challenging for the Raw Women's Championship in Saudi Arabia, which were both very good matches in my opinion. The fact that Trish versus Bliss was called off was very unfortunate. Maybe we get it relatively soon. I know Trish has been doing a lot more wrestling over the last few years, so maybe they recall back to this one. But overall, it was an average tag team match. Fox and James more threw themselves around for Trish and Lita in this one. But it was a decent opener. It got a big babyface win to start the show. But for me, very glad that this wasn't Trish and Lita's last matches. After that, we had the Battle Royal for a future championship match of the winner's choosing, which was won by Nia Jax. The participants were Naomi, Sonya Deville, Carmella, Zelina Vega, Tamina, Ember Moon, Lana, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, Nia Jax obviously, Asuka, and the Iconics. And legends in the match were Michelle McCool, Alundra Blaze, Kelly Kelly, Maria, Molly Holly, Ivory, and Tori Wilson. And the Iconics got absolutely screwed. It was a disgrace how everyone just teamed up on them, but I do miss them a lot, and I'm glad that they're back in TNA at the minute. Asuka deserved this win like more than anyone else in my opinion, especially like in 2018 when she was still kind of got a lot of momentum behind her. I know that she'd like just lost the streak that she'd had it with Charlotte to Charlotte Flair, but I felt like she was the better winner here, and she was just kind of, I don't think she even made the last two. I'm pretty sure the last two were Jax and Ember Moon. So yeah, kind of, as I said, probably would have better off been Asuka. Nia winning made a lot of sense though. You know, maybe someone like Ember Moon could have got the win as well, and may have done a lot more for Ember, but again, Jax made perfect sense. Overall, the match was okay. As I say a lot of the time on the channel, battle royals are always fun to watch in the moment, and like even watching them back, even though you knew who's going to win, they are just a fun match in general. But like, I can never say that there's a classic battle royal, like, do you know what I mean, like a 5-star battle royal, because there just wouldn't be one. But yeah, this was a fine match. I think the only thing I laid down is that it was a kind of predictable winner. After that, we had Toni Storm defeat Io Shirai in the final of the Mae Young Classic. I believe it was the second Mae Young Classic. And yeah, this felt like a really short match, but it was absolutely fantastic, bell to bell. They never really let up. It was high octane throughout the whole match. These two seem to have absolutely fantastic chemistry, and I can't like imagine how good this match would be nowadays with like both of them being the women's world champions of each of company that they're in, pretty much. Though that might not be the case after this weekend, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's like, as I said, this was absolutely fantastic. It didn't go long. I don't know exactly how long it went exactly, but like it felt really short. But yeah, like this was arguably the second best match on the card. To say that it was like two women who are very lower down on the scale as far as like the overall show where they were, you know, winning the Mae Young Classic or being the final of the Mae Young Classic. They weren't even in NXT that much at the time. I believe Tony was in NXT UK, and this was Io Shirai's kind of introduction into WWE. So yeah, like both of them now looking where they are and where they were here, they've come miles and miles since then. But yeah, I'm waiting for them to put like the two Mae Young Classics on Netflix, so then I can go through and watch them all and maybe do a video on them. But yeah, so when it comes to Shirai and Storm, I can't imagine them ever having a bad match. And yeah, this was a perfect example of that, where yeah, they went out there and absolutely killed it. Following that, we had a 6-woman tag team match where Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Natalya defeated the Riot Squad, which was Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, and Liv Morgan. And yeah, this was a solid match. Everyone got a really good showing in this one. The Riot showed really well like how good they were as a team, and like I felt like they probably should have lasted longer as a full team, because like I said everything worked really well for them. I feel like though at the same time, maybe Liv and, well, to be fair, maybe Liv wouldn't have got to the points that she is now if the Riot Squad had continued any longer than it did. But yeah, the faces looked good as a team and as individuals as well, which of course they are very good as individuals. But yeah, if you told me like all the way back then that the two biggest stars in 2025 in this match would be Sasha Banks and Liv Morgan, but Sasha Banks in a different company, I would have been very shocked. But yeah, it was a kind of long match. It kind of stagnated at times where I kind of found myself getting distracted because of how long it really was. But Sasha and Bayley really should have been doing more on this show. Maybe have even done Sasha versus Bayley on the show, even if it was like, it didn't even need like a long story or anything. They could have done just a respectable battle, if you will, with both of them being baby faces. But yeah, overall, like the opener, it was a fine match, nothing really special. All 6 women had a good showing here. It just felt like, especially Bayley and Sasha Banks, they could have done so much more in this show than just a random 6-woman tag. Following that, Shayna Baszler defeated Kairi Sane to become the new NXT Women's Champion, and these two work so well together. Like, all of their matches are really good, but for me, this is definitely the pick of the bunch. This, for me, was match of the night, in my opinion, and yeah, it was just absolutely fantastic, and I just cannot stress enough how great NXT Shayna Baszler was. It was an absolute prime for her, and to be fair, same with Kairi Sane. Like, Kairi Sane was probably at her best when she was in NXT. She hasn't quite worked out what she's doing on the main roster, like due to injuries and due to like then being stuck in a tag team with Asuka, which of course isn't a bad thing, but a lot of people prefer Kairi as a singles guy, a singles woman even. But yeah, like Kairi never really had a proper singles run on the main roster. I'm hoping due to some build up we've seen recently, this might be getting it more often now. But I feel like she's kind of past her prime at this point. But I don't know, I could be proven wrong. But yeah, for me, Shayna Baszler back then was an unstoppable force on NXT, and I don't understand how it didn't translate into the main roster under Vince or under Triple H. But yeah, I'd say that Shayna Baszler on this show especially massively outshone Ronda Rousey, which you know with how the MMA 4 horsewomen work out just like isn't great, because they definitely preferred Ronda Rousey over thing. But yeah, these two had great chemistry. The transitional wrestling was absolutely on point. Sane looked very strong in defeat. She was in the Karavuda clutch for absolutely ages, and it took for Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir to get involved to kind of cost Sane the match. But yeah, the interference helped move the story along even further, and I think they had a fatal 4-way match, I believe, at some point after this as well, or it might have been before. But yeah, I've got nothing but positive to say about this match. It was also fantastic, and if you haven't seen it, go check it out, because my opinion is definitely the best match on this show. Following that, Becky Lynch defeated Charlotte Flair in a last woman standing match to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship, and this was a fun match. I actually haven't watched it since it happened, and yeah, it was a lot better than I remember it was. It was solid wrestling to start the match, and they kind of beat the piss out of each other for the rest of the match. It's not very often we get like a slow and methodical pace from the face, which was Charlotte Flair, and then the more high-octane and quick-paced wrestling from the heel, which was of course Becky. But once the weapons came into play, the match kind of broke down a lot, and we got less of the more traditional wrestling and more of just absolutely beating the piss out of each other essentially. But yeah, the figure 8 in the ladder looked awful, like it really messed up like Lynch's leg, and I can't imagine how uncomfortable that is. Lynch's facial selling is especially good, especially with the 9 count after she buried Charlotte under a load of stuff. I think worked really well, and it helped the match out massively. But as soon as Charlotte starts shouting and talking smack, it usually means that she's about to lose. I've noticed that a lot watching her matches back. I recently watched a match back that she had with Sasha Banks when Sasha first won the Raw Women's Championship, and literally moments before Charlotte loses, she's like, "You can't beat me," blah 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 blah, and then she taps out to the bank statement. So that's kind of my clue of knowing whether Charlotte's going to win or not. She'll just start talking a load of smack and then lose. But yeah, the ending is a massive letdown though, in my opinion. It's why this match doesn't get match of the night, in my opinion. Flair is like pretty much on her feet by the count of 8. I'll try and find like a picture of it and I'll put it on the screen, but it looks ridiculous. Like, she is 100% on her tiptoes at the count of 8 and 9. But they wanted to I assume that Charlotte wanted to make herself look strong in defeat, but she actually made a complete tit of herself in my opinion, and it looked absolutely ridiculous, and as I said, it kind of ruined the ending of this match. So yeah, they either should have stopped the count and done something else to take Charlotte Flair out, or Charlotte Flair should have just stayed on the floor. Like, I don't get why she had to get back to her feet only to fall over again before the 10 count, but yeah, it really didn't make any sense. It reminded me of like when Hulk Hogan used to kick out at the 3 count, so he lost, but he lost by like milliseconds, so it didn't make him look bad. Not that I'm saying Charlotte Hogan or anything, I'm just saying that's what it reminded me of in the moment. But I'd say it was the better, and it definitely should have been main event. Like, even though it wasn't match of the night, it definitely should have gone on last. Rousey and Nikki really shouldn't have, but I'll probably get to that in a minute. But yeah, said it was a pretty fun match overall. It's just a shame that Charlotte kind of ruined the ending. And finally, in the main event, Ronda Rousey defeated Nikki Bella with Brie Bella to retain the Raw Women's Championship. And yeah, the first thing I've written on my notes is that this match should never have main evented. It should have definitely been Becky versus Charlotte. You know, not only to the point of like the match quality was better, but Becky and Charlotte were the women at the time. Like, their story was in the women's division was bigger than any other story, and yeah, that was definitely what should have gone on last. But I get the whole Ronda Rousey is a bigger star, etc, etc, but yeah, trust me, I can't stand Charlotte, and yeah, I definitely thought that the other match should have main evented. And to be fair, I think I hate Ronda Rousey more than I hate Charlotte Flair, so you know, either way, it's kind of just sucked, and the SmackDown Women's Championship was way more worthy at the time of going on last. But overall, the match wasn't great. It was pretty average, especially for these two. Nikki did like the ground and pound doing twin magic, but that kind of went on for too long. Rousey was doing her, obviously, the strike stuff and like all the hits that Ronda Rousey does. And yeah, it kind of went as I expected, you know, with Rousey kind of starting off the match on the front foot, then Nikki kind of cheats to get the match swinging in her momentum. Gets the momentum of the match swinging in her side. I think that's side. That kind of makes sense, I guess. But then Ronda Rousey overcomes the odds and then just beats the piss out of somebody for a few minutes before applying the armbar and winning. But yeah, say for me, as far as wrestling goes, this really wasn't very good. Becky and Charlotte beat the shit out of each other, and it was a lot better. The 2 NXT matches were absolutely fantastic from in-ring wise. And yeah, this was just a really low way to finish what was a very historic pay-per-view. And yeah, it kind of felt like a step in the wrong direction as far as like putting the 2 biggest stars of the women's division on last instead of like the 2 mainstays of the women's division. And yeah, I don't know, it kind of just left, I remember at the time it left like with a sour taste in my mouth, and it kind of was the same on the rewatch as well. And yeah, I get, as I said, it's all based on star power, and I get that, but yeah, this match really wasn't very good. So those are my thoughts and opinions on WWE Evolution 2018. Overall, I thought the show was alright. I didn't think it was an all-timer pay-per-view. It felt like it definitely could have been a little bit better. You know, if they'd used Asuka and Ember Moon maybe a little bit more in like better matches. I mean, Sasha and Bayley were massively misused on this card, and then the main event was a massive letdown. As I said, Charlotte and Becky definitely should have gone on last, but the 2 NXT matches massively showed how good NXT would become, especially that year as well, where NXT was in its absolute prime, in my opinion. I love NXT in 2018. But yeah, overall, as I said, it was a pretty fine show. I feel like this year's is definitely going to be a lot better than that year's. But yeah, what did you think? Let me know down in the comments of this show and what you're looking forward to on this year's Evolution. With that being literally tomorrow night. So yeah, do let me know what you think is going to happen, your predictions, and anything you're looking forward to on that show, what you enjoyed about this Evolution back in 2018 as well. And yeah, do like the video if you enjoyed it, and if you enjoy these kind of retro review type wrestling revisits. And yeah, if there's any previews you'd like me to visit in the future, do let me know down in the comments as well. Do like the video if you enjoyed it, do share it as well, subscribe, as I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before SummerSlam. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.